I've talked before about how I detest purity culture and how these patriarchal religions put like purity and virginity up on a pedestal so that when they see a fall, and I'm putting this in quotes, fallen girl or woman, somebody that they deem less than, they will victim blame if something happens to that woman or girl. So this mom made a post on Threads, and this post was enraging to me. This girl did nothing wrong, but since she was perceived to be drunk, they basically victim blamed her and didn't get her any help, the help that she really needed in this moment. Let's look at this post. Jules Bright Art says a Midwestern county fair decided to only serve drinks in solo cups without lids. Amazing idea, I'm sure was not reviewed by any women. Our 21-year-old daughter bought herself a drink and stood by her brother and friend in the VIP section for the concert. She immediately felt sick, stumbled over to a security guard, fell unconscious, and was escorted out of the fair for drinking too much. She was choking on her vomit and her eyes were in the back of her head when they decided to call the ambulance. The first responders decided she was just drunk, and she went to the hospital to get fluids. She woke up at the hospital, pupils blown out, unaware of what happened. Our 18-year-old son is a first responder and said she had clearly been drugged, although no one else mentioned it. Several witnesses helped her ID the guy who did it, but they decided not to be listed on the police report she filed. Her grandma asked, "Why does this stuff keep happening to you, even though it's never happened before?" Our daughter calls me, feeling utterly alone, feeling like she did something wrong and no one believes her. She was afraid she'd be charged with falsifying a report since the witnesses backed out. She has a $6,000 medical bill to top it off. People were mad at her for making their plans change, and not one person there offered her care or support while she spent the next day sick and going through withdrawals from some unknown drug. This has got to change. We need more women making decisions, more training for these issues, less complacency, more accountability. The victim blaming from the women in her own family started immediately. They don't understand it and would rather just forget it happened. She keeps saying, "It's fine," like she's already trained not to care. The sad thing is, I trained her for this. I taught her how to be safe with her drinks. It's not her problem to fix, it's ours. And then Kristen says, "Here's the problem. You taught her to be safe with her drinks, and other people didn't teach their sons that consent is non negotiable. It isn't her responsibility to guard her drinks, it's their responsibility not to drug them." Jules says, "True, we can teach our sons to be better, but the way our society works will always leave room for these things to happen unless things change on a bigger scale. One big issue: shame must change sides. Shame must change sides." Exactly. And she says, "Oh, and to top it off, she is bruised and really sore, and her shins are beat up. Didn't know why until she watched one of the videos from the concert and saw the security guards dragging her out of the concert unconscious with her legs dragging on the gravel." Just to give you the mental picture, our daughter is a tiny 5 foot tall girl. D. Blooming says, "I would get a lawyer and examine what her rights are. She may have grounds to sue the venue, security company, and the ER for what happened. A lot of venues have gone to cups like this to prevent overconsumption and throwing of full bottles or cans, but they don't take things into consideration, the safety side of things for women." And she says right here, she's so pissed that the hospital refused to do a tox screen on her. I'm sure they all just want to blame it on her drinking too much. And then the Lily and Claire says, "That is wild." This is the reason why I say this is purity culture to begin with, from beginning to end. From beginning to end, they thought that she was drunk, that she did something wrong, and from beginning to end, the security guards failed her. The people she was with didn't give a damn. Even her brother was just upset because his plans had to change. The people in the ambulance failed her because they don't know you don't know the signs of someone being drunk versus drugged. The people at the hospital failed her. The witnesses didn't give a damn. Everybody basically failed this girl because they thought that she was just a fallen woman, that she just made bad decisions. But the thing is, let's even just say that she was drunk. Why can't we just err on the side of caution? Even if someone is drunk, does that mean that they should be dragged? Does that mean that they should be given less quality care? Does that mean that you're not supposed to know the signs of drugging versus someone being drunk? And even if someone is drunk, you see someone vomiting, you're just going to sit there and not do some tox screens. Like, what if there was some alcohol poisoning or something? They didn't do a tox screening on her. How dangerous is that? The whole just let her sleep it off, or like if she were drugged and then, Lord forbid, raped, they would have blamed her for it. Her family members blamed her for it. This is not just a one person failing her. Like this whole community, basically, because when some woman or girl is deemed less than, everything that happens to her past that is her own fault. Now they have nothing for the man or boy that did this to her, because the witnesses don't have backbone enough to actually point it out and stand on business for her, because boys' reputations are greater than the health, wellness, and safety of women and girls. We see this time and time again. This is why I detest purity culture. This is the reason why I detest these patriarchal religions that put men and boys' reputations and egos and accomplishments over that of the women and girls' bodies, safety, all of that. Boys and men are always going to be higher and more protected than women and girls. Even the men and boys that do the bad things to the women and girls. Screw the women and girls. Even the patriarchy patties of people's own families said, screw you in regards to, these types of situations. And I cannot stand it. Trini says, I'm horrified this happened to her, and her friends are oh my God, their plans might have to change because she was at best suddenly taken ill, and at worst she was poisoned. She should never go anywhere with them ever again. They would leave her in the gutter to be molested without a backwards glance. And then the mom says, I agree. I bitched out our son for his complacency. He's only 18, but he needs to do better. He was upset with her about the change of plans, but he has been way better today after I called him out. This is your sister, and you're not looking out for her. And I'm utterly disgusted, because isn't that what they say? I'm not looking out for anybody unless they're in my immediate family. And you have a brother that can't even look out for or give a damn about his own sister because a concert is going on. Astro Girl Alabama says her brother left her. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The mom says, yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly how things went down. When I asked him, he said he just really wasn't aware of what was happening until they put her in the ambulance. He was front row at his fave musician's concert with other friends, and I suspect he wasn't paying attention. MGK says, what the F? Everyone involved failed her. This breaks my heart. And to that, the mom says, so true. She's with my Midwestern family right now, who are not being supportive. This is why I moved away from them. Luckily, our 18-year-old son is only on vacation there and is coming home soon. I don't need him learning that. Taylor says, I went to a concert this weekend with my boyfriend, his friend, and his friend's fiance. I joined them after the opener to find them all the way more intoxicated than made sense, and they all got kicked out. I immediately was asking bar staff how much they'd had, but 4 drinks for 3 people does not equal passed out on a pile of vomit 30 minutes later. I grabbed patrol officers to call for an ambulance for the friend, negative test, and he's been feeling like he's coming off hard drugs when he was in 2 major hit and runs. That's the thing. You need to have friends that can, see around, that have some discernment, that have some sense. Please be aware of these types of things. Share these types of situations with your children, the boys and girls, the men and women, so that they can see the signs, they can role play the things to do. Because yes, it sucks when you have to leave a situation, but also the life and death of your family members should also matter. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.